Hi, my name is Jeremy, and today I want to talk to you about this video called the number one reason why your digital transformation will fail. You see, so many people are talking about digital transformation, and a lot of articles, a lot of things has been written about how to make your digital transformation succeed. But just as important as it is to understand how to make it successful, we also need to understand what could be the biggest reason, the main reason why it failed in so many companies. But before we go into that, let me just introduce myself again. So my name is Jeremy. I'm a scaling up coach. I work with companies across the Asia Pacific region. I work with their CEOs to scale up their business. And one of the questions that always comes out nowadays when we talk about scaling up is, what does digital transformation has to do with my scaling up journey? And that's what I do. I help them to answer that question, to develop a digital transformation plan in the company and take them through a process. So before we go into the topic, I want to ask you this question. Are you putting on digital lipstick? You see, this is the key question, and I think it was raised by one of the banks who successfully underwent a digital transformation process for all 24,000 of their staff, right? And they asked this question, which I think is so relevant, and that is, are you putting on digital lipstick? What does it mean? It means that you are only working on cosmetic changes in the business. Because you see, for digital transformation to really work, you need to understand that the key success factor is not the technology, but is actually the people. But the people must be ready for this kind of a company, because the company itself, the business itself, is actually driven and made up by people. People drive the change, people drive the growth and the progress. And if they're not able, if the people in the company are not able to understand what a digital environment is, or a world that is being changed by digital, then how are they going to operate in that kind of a business environment, right? So digital lipstick is a case or a situation when the people still think the same way, think in the old ways of doing business, but they just have some cosmetic changes. Like, we have a new IT system where we got a faster computer. We got we put now all our things on the cloud, but essentially the business remains the same. The way the people approach the business does not change after so many years. Just think about that, right? Are you putting on digital lipstick? And the number one reason why digital transformation for so many companies fail was people do not know how to make that switch. They do not know how to operate in this kind of environment and to thrive in this kind of environment. So today the topic is really about people. How do we help our companies to ensure that we'll be successful in this digital transformation process by understanding how we can bring our people along in this journey? So there are 5 questions here that I want you to ask yourself, right? And these 5 questions will tell you whether you are really putting on digital lipstick or if your digital transformation is working. The first one is, your digital transformation does not create new value for the customer. So you can have a new computers, you can do things faster, you can put your things on the cloud, but if it does not create new value for the customer, your business remains the same. It's fundamentally not changed. Right, your digital transformation does not require cultural changes, which means that people do not need to change. They don't need to change the way they think. They do not need to change the way they do things, and basically nothing changes in terms of the behavior of the people. And the third is about the business model. The business model does not change. Yes, you could be doing it faster, you could be doing cheaper, but essentially you are not offering a new value proposition, right? Or you do not create digital assets like data. And the last one is, you do not need to acquire new skill sets. So today, when we want to talk about the digital lipstick, right, and how to make sure you're not putting on digital lipstick, but you're really undergoing a digital transformation, we're going to be talking about the cultural and the skill set change. Because today, primarily we're talking about people. I have a few other videos that actually talk about your business model and your digital strategy, right? So that's for the other topics. But today, let's focus on people. So when we talk about the digital lipstick, what we really want to do is to make sure we have a cultural change. And when people talk about culture in a company, what do they usually mean, right? It's actually beliefs and behaviors, right? Beliefs and behaviors. And beliefs and behaviors stem from the mindset, right? How they actually think, or how do they actually understand about the business, the environment, or how should they behave, how should they work. that falls under the mindset, right? And then the behaviors, which is how they do things, and part of it is affected by the skill sets, right? And when we talk about the skill sets, it's really about having digital skill sets. So you can have digital mindset, but you're not able to operate in a digital environment, you're stuck as well. So we need to look at these two things today. How do we build a digital mindset, and what are the digital skill sets that we need to have? So let's start with culture first. When we talk about culture, it's about mindset and skill set. And this is a framework that I've came out with in my book called Thrive. I wrote a book called Thrive, Finding Your Unfair Advantage in an Unfair World, right? Because the world is becoming more and more unfair. Those who got the right skill set and mindsets will thrive, and those who do not have, they will be left behind. And I came out with this framework called the H-shaped employee. So in the past, we talked about a H-shaped employee. We talked about mindset and skill sets, right? And what we want to add in today in the area of skill sets is also the digital skill sets. So when you have mindset and skill sets balancing each other, it looks like a H shape where you have got two verticals that support this culture. Now, let's talk about the mindset first. When we talk about a digital mindset, there's a lot of things we can talk about, a lot of digital behaviors and way of thinking. But today I want to zoom in on one that is called rapid experimentation. Why rapid experimentation is really because the world has moved so fast, and digital has enabled us to really test the market or test the product and let the market tell us what we should be doing rather than we trying to figure it out on our own. So in the past, when a company wants to come up with a new product or new service, they take this ready, aim, and fire approach, right? Which is very traditional, very careful. It's like a sniper, right? You plan, you do all your research, then you aim, and then finally you fire, and you only have one shot to make it count, right? So when you have done all your homework, hopefully you will be able to get it right. But now, when we talk about rapid experimentation, your role has changed to ready, fire, and aim. And again, using a military analogy, you're no longer a sniper, but you're more what we call a forward observer, where you call in the artillery and then you adjust. But the main thing is you need to get going first. You need to take that first shot first, and then you know how to adjust from there. You let the market tell you what to do instead of in the traditional way. You do all the research, all the focus groups, all the study, spend a lot of time and money on the research and development phase only to come up with a product without any certainty of success. But in rapid experimentation, you want to go for fast moving prototypes and let the market tell you what works and what does not work, and that will drive your next step in product or service development. So in a digital mindset, the digital mindset is comfortable with rapid testing. They are comfortable with letting the market tell them what to do. They're comfortable with experimenting and trying new things until they get it, right? So when it comes to a company, this is a huge cultural change for a lot of companies, because a lot of companies tend to see this as we need to invest a lot of money, a lot of time, we need to put people aside for long projects in order to find the next big thing. But a digital company, the culture is let's do it small steps. It is more important to get this out into the market and let the market tell us rather than to get it right. So a digital mindset leads to MVPs to test, minimum viable products to test, to come up with many small parts of the product or the service and test it, and then you zoom in on the selected parts to build a better outcome. So this is really a key, and the key difference is letting the market tell us, being comfortable with letting the market tell us what to do. But in order to do that, we need to have a rapid experimental mindset. And then now let's talk about skill sets. When we talk about skill sets, on one hand, you need to have the mindset to understand how to operate in this environment. Now, the skill sets actually give you the actual tools to do things, right? To get things done, to create new value in the digital economy. So the first one is to understand digital business models. That means to be able to understand how digital has changed the way business is being done, and to be able to strategize with that kind of understanding. Right? So it's really about business modeling, it's really about network effects, it's really about strategy. The second, of course, is digital marketing, which is actually very common, right? It's really about how to build communities rather than just pushing products. And of course, the next one, digital development, is about software. It's about codes, right? It's about developing things that people can use. And another skill set is about data analytics. It's understanding how we can use data to become assets, right? And helping us to build better value for the company and for the customer. The next one is the Industry 4.0. It's really understanding about how AI, IoT, robotics, sensors, how all these things work together to create an ecosystem and a digital environment. And the last one is digital work cultures. It is really about digital management techniques that enable people to be able to operate more effectively in a digital environment. So these are the 6 broad areas of digital skill sets that we all need in a company. Now, if you were to look at your company today, how many percent of your staff do you think possess these skills? You will see that those companies that are very digitally advanced, but we're not talking about your Facebook and your Googles. Let's say Domino's Pizza. Domino's Pizza is a company that imagines itself as an e-commerce company that happens to sell pizza, which means that they think digital. And if you go to their headquarters today, guess, out of the 800 staff, the majority of the people, what kind of work are they doing? Are they learning how to make pizzas? Are they thinking of the next better recipe? Are they working on procuring better tasting materials or ingredients for the pizzas? No. The majority of the staff are actually digital people. They're actually people working on data analytics, working on user experience, using on user interface, right? Making Domino's Pizza so easily accessible to so many people. So this is actually what we mean by having the right skill sets together with the right mindset, and your company will be able to thrive in a digital environment. So this is another example I'm going to share with you, and this is by this very famous car designer called Ken Okuyama. Right, he designs for all the top brands in Japan, and he says that car designers have to understand one thing, and that is the role of driverless cars is becoming a reality. And when it becomes a reality, what does it mean for the traditional car making industry? So car makers traditionally have a lot of engineers, and he said that engineering is no longer just enough. You need coding as well, because the entire car is driven by codes, right? So engineering is no longer just the key skill for car makers. Software and codes, ability, IoT, sensors, right? AI, artificial intelligence, these are the new skills. So this is what we mean by a traditional business has to learn to adapt and put in additional digital skill sets into the competencies of their staff, right? So this is one example I want to share with you to say that companies are really starting to take notice that if they want to thrive in the 21st century, if they want to be competitive and win in the coming next 10 years, then digital skill sets are very, very important. They need to become the core competency of your company. So in conclusion, can we do to make sure we don't fail in our digital transformation like so many companies? The first one is really about being very intentional to develop a digital culture. Because culture doesn't happen by itself. I mean, if you let culture happen by itself, it will not be the culture that you want, right? And there's so much written about how to build a healthy culture. And today, I want to share with you one more element you need to build in is to encourage digital behaviors. So some companies, for example, they run regular hackathons, right? Just to get their people to look at how can we solve problems in a different way. Or there are some companies that reward people for trying, and they reward people for failure, because they want to encourage a culture where people are not afraid to test, and that's why they do that, right? Second is to develop a digital learning plan. So one of my clients actually look across their entire company, right, about 400 staff, and they break them into key functions, and the L&D and HR departments study and say, how can we enhance each department with digital skills? What kind of digital skill sets from those 6 will make this department more effective? This department could be finance, so maybe analytics, right? That department could be in manufacturing or design and AI, right? Then the management team, maybe it's about digital business models, right? The sales team would be about digital marketing. So they actually break it down and say, how do we systematically help every department learn digital skills, and you need to do that too if you want to be able to have a competitive company in the 21st century. And all this means what? It means you need to build enough people who are digitally ready in your company. You see, a digital transformation process is a process, right? It's not something that happens overnight. But to tip that balance and to make it work out in favor of you, you need enough people who understand digital and can do things in a digital way, right? Who can work in a digital economy. So if you have only 10% of your people in the company and 90% still do things the same old way, you will never be able to tip that balance. And that's why my last point actually is the most important, is to build enough people, enough percentage of your staff who can think digital and act digital, and this will drive and make your digital transformation successful. So where we go from here, right? We have got other videos on digital transformation, on scaling businesses. If you want to know more, want to see more videos, get more resources, you can go to Growth Catalyst. This is our YouTube channel, and then you can look at the resources there, and please subscribe to it. And of course, you can get in touch with us at grow@growthcatalyst.com.sg. grow@growthcatalyst.com.sg. So if you want more resources like tools, articles, you want to talk to us about your digital transformation process, feel free to contact us. So once again, thank you for watching this video. I hope you have looked at the entire series of 5 videos on digital transformation, and I hope it has answered you in some of the questions that you might have, because this is actually what we have done in our company and seen the company transform. We scaled our company with digital transformation, and now we're helping other companies to scale with digital transformation. And if you need help too, get in touch with us. So thank you very much once again, and I hope to see you again. Have a great day.